On Sunday, February 1st, an unknown attacker stabbed Taja de Jesus to death on the steps of her Bayview home. As a 36-year-old transgender Latina woman, de Jesus is one of 5 transgender women of color murdered this year alone. Just over a week after her death, a protest was held in City Hall to bring light to de Jesus' death and violence against the trans community. That same day, the San Francisco LGBT Center released an extensive report that illustrated shockingly high levels of violence against the community.
So I'm Ruth McFarland, and I'm the Director of Programs here at the San Francisco LGBT Community Center. Here at the center, we're really trying to connect individuals to the community and to resources. So making sure that the San Francisco LGBT community is really just connected to each other and able to strengthen, grow, and build assets. Folks who are the most marginalized feel the most unsafe. I think that's the generalization that you can take from the data overall, and specifically the data point that jumps out is that transgender individuals felt 7 times more unsafe than other LGBT folks. And I think too, another sort of big piece of the context is that this is San Francisco, right? And so San Francisco has this amazing reputation and legacy and history of being sort of the gay Mecca. And the assumption that goes with that, I think, for a lot of people locally as well as nationally, is that this is a safe place. That, you know, if it's going to be right anywhere for LGBT folks, it's going to be right in San Francisco. And what we knew was that there was lots and lots of violence still happening, and that it was probably happening to particular parts of our communities more than others. So it became really important to take a closer look at that, and as Evan said, to gather some hard numbers around that. One of the factors that seemed to lead in that area was that the lack of affordable housing is a major issue in the city, and so people can't live somewhere that they think they would be safer. They're not able to live in communities in which they feel safe. They're forced to live in places that feel far more dangerous. And then in addition to that, there's a mistrust that the police will actually help. So the sense of being in danger of violence is sort of heightened by this feeling of, and there's no one protecting me, there's no one I can go to for help. We had a meeting with Teresa Sparks, who's the Human Rights Commissioner, and she was talking about when they first started looking at this issue, one of the things that really worked was creating places of safety that it was specifically targeting, looking at opportunities to create safe spaces for Latina transgender folks, and having those safe spaces located both in nonprofits and in quasi kind of governmental spaces. I think HRC was even a safe space for a while. But we had this really interesting conversation among the stakeholders about hate crimes and how, you know, incidents do and don't get classified as hate crimes. And I think it's really easy in our society to kind of want one clear definition for why. We want a clear sort of chain of causality, right? We want to know why something's happening so that we can solve it. But even when it is explicitly a hate crime, even when something happens and it's pretty explicitly that in the moment, there are multiple reasons why it might not even get reported that way. The individual who experiences the violence might not report it. The police officer who's at the scene might decide that's not how they're going to take the report, right? And then it's never followed up in that way. There is such a spotlight on violence against transgender people right now. And so even the day that we announced this and put out a press release about this report, there was a demonstration at City Hall to memorialize and recognize that a life had just been lost in the community again just days before. And those types of actions are happening all over the country right now. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if this particular report, because of the timing, gets picked up outside of San Francisco. And that would be really, really great to see.